A presumptuous individual on George Galloway's Modes chat board snidely suggested if he was talking to me that I threw a punch out of my weight class. Um, because I know how the gossip of the party lines at Carnegie Mellon University also work. This comment synthesizes into the sort of background sounds that fraternity boards heaped on me when I talked knowledgeably about the background of King Crimson in Wimborne, Dorset. What's that got to do with you, they said. Adam Eisenstadt, who went by Abdul and ghost wrote for Trump, once said, if you can't bark with the big dogs, stay on the porch. And from what I gather from that crowd of brawlers and fraternities at CMU and Pitt, the big dogs were the ones who were recklessly driving around elementary school children passing school buses. If you can't bark with the big dogs, stay on the porch means if you're going to be a crybaby about reckless driving that could endanger the children of Gaza, then you're unfit to comment about Peter Gabriel or Vladimir Zelensky. Now, I'm not going to be dishonest about my ingratiating myself to Fripp and Gabriel. The truth is that I've written some nice poems. You might not like them. I've also had some very dignified conversations with people who were very obscure in the arts, like the bass player from Overy Lodge, a nice monkish Londoner. At the senior center where I work, where I have lunch, where I write my poetry, no caustic intent behind this. I asked one of the women who's very receptive to me as a person, helpful, good with the gang there, qualified, serving good lunches, if she liked poetry, and she said no. I said not at all. She said not at all. So some people do like poetry. It seemed to me that King Crimson and Peter Gabriel liked poetry. As a result of that, it didn't seem out of my class to relate to them that I was trying to gain insight, that I'm a deaf person. I like their work. I didn't get to go to Charterhouse Academy. I'm deaf. I was washing dishes, being recklessly driven around school buses as a frightened passenger. I had been kidnapped and tortured. And I didn't know at the time that Peter Gabriel, his album Passion is certainly the most powerful music I ever heard when I could hear. It's in a class of its own. but it's also very macabre and deadly in history. I didn't realize that the Young Person's Guide to King Crimson, I mean, it was a challenge, and I thought it was ironic that the guitarist from King Crimson was so studiously particular about dates and incidents, given the way that the winemakers and the Pittmans and the Kasparovskis and the Mancines had socially isolated and Ripper Hattered me. Ouspensky Cubist fourth dimensional fractal experiment and observation of a battered child's inner psyche. Certainly I saw the irony of that, but I did not realize that King Crimson and Peter Gabriel were part of the Mineo's Humanitarian Fund of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I figured they were the sort of people who might be able to negotiate diplomacy about a waif of an individual who was deaf, whose father, after all, meant something, was something heroic to the University of Pittsburgh, who had not hurt anybody, despite the stuff that they say about me. I had not hurt anybody. With the Caesar Angler or something, I mean, I knew a lot of Israelis. Most of them liked Peter Gabriel and Genesis. So I wasn't punching out of my weight class. I was trying to get a picture of my circumstances that could function should I ever be able to return to college, which I eventually did after 2 years of homelessness. I'm in Psi Beta and Phi Theta Kappa, which is the honors societies you can reach, community colleges. And I think some of my poems stand up to comparison with other poets of achievement. And they function in some ways as graffiti in a skateboard environment, which is anti-fa and creative. I mean, I have the issue of Thrasher with the Gaza skateboard scene. I have the Scandinavian Vogue with Greta Thunberg. I've taken climate change. In fact, in Pittsburgh, I used to tell the community college we needed a greenhouse. They would say, oh, poor little Jimmy, always the Aquarian. Ha ha ha. I wasn't stealing books from the library. Is that what they mean by not punching out of my class? Or not? I mean, I wouldn't rob Russia. I wouldn't rob the Palestinians. Is that what they mean by being too big for my britches? I really don't understand how somebody who has children and a wife and lustrous career could be contemptuous towards a Popeye of a sad sack who was deafened and never allowed to have children, whose girlfriends just wanted to see him cry. I don't understand how they could turn my computer relaxation into their peep show and say that they have any dignity. I simply don't understand. I've never made closed circuit TV films of a man and a woman, much less a husband and a wife team. I'm not J. Edgar Hoover. Is that what they mean by being too big for my britches? I believe in the privacy of an individual who's been battered, tortured, and suffering from Parkinson's. That means I'm too big for my britches. Because I'm not ripping off museums, I'm too big for my britches. I find it very difficult to tabulate their sensibilities, frankly.